Hello and welcome to the 007 Files. I'm co-host Javier Trujillo, and today is November 17th, 2025, which marks the 30th anniversary of the US-wide release of Goldeneye starring Pierce Brosnan. And to commemorate the occasion, I wanted to take a look back a month to October 6th, 2025, when I saw Goldeneye for the first time in years on the big screen at the Alamo Drafthouse. During that weekend, which was the day prior was Global James Bond Day, there were many anniversary celebrations of GoldenEye in 4K. Uh, and my fiance and I went to the Alamo Drafthouse, which is our usual movie-going cinema, and saw GoldenEye in a almost full house. The front row was open, and there were a couple spotted seats throughout, but it was a really full crowd, which for a Monday night for a 30-year-old movie, I thought was pretty spectacular. To compare it, just a few weeks prior, we saw Nightmare on Elm Street 5 at the same cinema, and it was a Saturday night, and there were maybe 7 people counting us, which on the lead up to Halloween, I thought they were showing all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and that was just the day that worked out best for us. We didn't really pick that movie. We just wanted to go see one, and it was not very well attended. So I was surprised when we went to see Goldeneye that it was that crowded for, again, a 30-year-old movie. But that is the power of this movie, and it's just iconic. So we went to the cinema, walked in. I don't know if you're familiar with the Alamo Drafthouse, but it's a movie theater chain where they serve you food and drink at your seat. They have a wide menu of beers and alcoholic beverages and food, a lot of times paired with the movie. They'll have special menu items to coincide. Nothing special for Goldeneye, though. And in fact, once upon a time, they did have Vesper martinis on the menu, but as I looked, there wasn't one. And I asked our server if it was possible to get a martini. They said yes. I mean, I had to have a martini with a Bond movie. And it wasn't a Vesper, but it was still good. But I think I've just gotten used to the mix of, 3 portions of gin, 1 of vodka, and the splash of vermouth. And this was not that, but still good. Every Alamo Drafthouse has a pre-show leading up to the start of the movie, and during this pre-show, to get you excited, we saw trailers for The Spy Who Loved Me, For Your Eyes Only, a lot of Roger Moore stuff. There was a commercial for milk that was tied in with Moonraker somehow. I never really associated milk with Moonraker. And of course, there was James Bond Jr. clips. And I think, if I'm remembering right, there was even a Happy Anniversary 007 clip in there as well. So, like I said, a lot of Roger Moore stuff, not really a lot of Pierce. But of course, when the movie, screen darkened, the cinema screen darkened, and that gun barrel logo, popped up on the screen, and just like everything was black, and you just see this piercing white light go across the screen. And because we were in the back row, and I was just taken back to 30 years, and it was a really nostalgic viewing experience. And we're going to talk about this on our License to Legacy episode, my first time seeing Goldeneye, but it was a few days before the official release where I got into an advanced screening, and seeing that gun barrel with its enhancements, it was different than what we'd seen with Tim or with Roger, and just the way the music clanged and echoed. It was unlike anything I'd seen before, and it felt really comforting now to go see it again, because I haven't seen this movie in cinemas since 1995. So, and while I saw it, I think at least 4 times back then, and many times since then on Laserdisc and Blu-ray, and now digitally 4K. This was a 4K projection, not a print, but the transfer looked really good. I was not a fan of the Lowry restoration. It just didn't look right to me from the versions I've been used to seeing on home video. But this looked really good. Everything looked crisp and clean, and the sound, especially when you get to the tank chase in St. Petersburg. Back in the day, that was just a reference quality for me when we were showing off our home theater we pop in the Laserdisc of Goldeneye just so you could hear all the surrounds and the tank and everything. And it was so good to see it again. And it's been a while since I've watched Goldeneye. It is not, this may be a hot take, it is not my favorite Pierce Brosnan movie. It's a very important Pierce Brosnan movie. It's a very important movie to me in my Bond fandom. Um, it's the whole reason why I have an Omega watch, although not the one that Brosnan wore, but um, for being such an important movie to me, it's not one of my favorites. So I'll let it sit for a little bit and just to go watch it again and not just pick my favorite parts, but to be in the cinema, no distractions, just from start to finish and go on this ride. And, to have my fiance with me, um, because I don't think she'd ever seen a Brosnan movie in the theater before. So while we've all watched them together, this was something for her as well. And it's just Bond. It doesn't matter how big your TV is at home. There's something about the scope of a Bond movie on a theater screen that it just gets the blood pumping. And it was so great to see it again and to hear the reactions. And maybe not every line hit like I would have thought it would or that I remembered, but there was still a lot of laughs and excitement and cheers and not quite to the degree I remember from when I saw Tomorrow Never Dies for the first time, which was a whole other story. But it was so good. And then because of like Marvel movies, who have become infamous for their end credit scenes, I it's okay now to like sit through the end of the credits, and I felt like um, I didn't feel maybe as self conscious about it because I couldn't leave the theater until I saw James Bond Will Return. Um, that's always just been a tradition. Like I can't, even though the movie's over, even if I've already seen it a few times prior, cannot leave until I see that all important James Bond Will Return, and that's comforting here in 2025 when it's been 4 years since No Time to Die was unleashed and James Bond has passed away on the big screen. So uh, it was just a great experience to see it again. Like I said, everyone seemed energized. It was a good audience. People were into the movie, and the movie doesn't look better than it does when it's projected on that scale. And everything just came rushing back. The score, the excitement, just the rawness of having this new take on James Bond. It's still familiar, but there was a freshness to it since it had been 6 years since we'd seen Bond on the screen. And it was a unique experience to go back and watch it again after all this time. And the Alamo's usually pretty good about showing older movies anyways, but recently I got to see License to Kill. That was my first time ever seeing that in a cinema. I take a great sense of comfort now that I think I've now seen every Bond movie since the year of my birth on the big screen. Um, now that I saw License to Kill. So it was great to see, Goldeneye again, though, because I have so many memories of like the first time the trailer came out, the video game, obviously. And it's just been a nostalgic run to remember all those and revisit those things as we go into our anniversary celebrations. It was the first time I got to see it on the big screen wearing an Omega. Like the whole reason why I own an Omega was because of Goldeneye. So it's a little fun to look down during some of the scenes, like in the train, and look at my watch and picture the laser beam coming out of the bezel. But it was a fun time. Let me know in the comments down below if you got to see Goldeneye for its 30th anniversary at the cinema, if you saw it during its first run. Share your stories and let's talk about this fun Bond flick in a time while we're waiting for the next iteration. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, that you go to the podcast and listen to all those episodes. Follow Bill Koenig's blog, The Spy Command. Go to David Lee's James Bond Dossier. And he also has a YouTube channel where he just visited Matera while I was getting ready to see Goldeneye. David was living the Bond life in Matera, visiting for that James Bond weekend. He shot in and out. So again, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.